Alderman Catalano. Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Messina. You have to unmute.
Sorry, here.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Here.
Alderman Sosmarski.
Here.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Here.
Alderman R. Wesley. Alderman Wood.
Here.
And Mayor, please.
Here. I declare a quorum present. Please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
United
the
States of America,
to the Republic,
Republic,
for which it stands,
one
One
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all. Okay, first off, I need a motion to approve the minutes of May 21st, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion. Mike, and who was second? Randy, I had my hand up. Alderman Messina. Had your hand up.
Yeah, we put our
Oh, wait,
hands
raise
up.
my hand.
You
Just
said
raise
put
my
the
hand.
hands up.
Wait, are you guys using, you're not doing the video, you're actually hitting the buttons, right?
Yeah, hit the button.
I raised my hand, yeah, I was the first one, but it's okay. I didn't see any hands go.
Yeah, I did too.
Here, I'll do it again. Can you see my hand?
I see it.
Now I see him. Okay, so Alderman Sosmarski and Alderman Messina.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Next, I need a motion to approve the minutes of May 28, 2020 special council meeting.
I make that motion.
Alderman Jacob,
Sonny will second.
do I have a second? Sonny will second, okay? Any questions, comments, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That passes. Okay, I have no written communications this evening. Jeff, unless you got something that didn't get to me yet, by chance? Yes, no?
I have nothing.
Nick, any residents waiting to speak?
None that I see.
Okay. Then we'll go to Mayor's report. First item, item A, we've got DuPage Senior Council donation request. Is that right there?
To
Go ahead, Sonny.
put in our budget $10,000 a year for the next 5 years minimum, and then to be reevaluated after 5 years.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Mayor, if I could. Hold on. Raising my hand. Raising my hand.
So am I.
Go ahead, Art.
Second.
Ed Bond wants to speak.
Oh,
Hold on. So we have a motion and a second. What was that motion again?
$10,000 each year for the next 5 years, and then revisit the program.
Mr. Bond, did you wanted to say something? I heard.
With respect to the motion, I would deal with it as the request right now under 6A, and then the other is for future budgeting, and that can be a direction to include that in there. But right now, you've got a request for a specific donation in this budget year. You're to do it in the future. That's just a policy recommendation to staff to include that in future budgets.
Well, the letter asks for 8,000, according to what I'm reading here.
Whatever the number is, it should be for this
Well,
specific request.
Well, we have a motion and a second already for 10,000.
But that's for 5 years.
No, he's saying it's not what he motioned. It's 10,000 a year he motioned. 50 grand.
When this first came up, my hand's up.
Go ahead, Sonny.
When this first was brought up, I was asked by one of the aldermen if I had any information on the neighboring communities with the DuPage Senior Citizens Council. From 2017 through 2019, or 19 to 20, 18 to 19, 17 to 18, City of Elmhurst donated 32,000 every year. Village of Glendale Heights, 15,000 every year. The Village of Bloomingdale, 10,000 every year. I think the letter is pretty self-explanatory as far as the services that are rendered to our fragile seniors here in Wooddale, 70 of them not duplicated. From not only the Meals on Wheels, but the wellness checks, the minor repairs, and it just goes on and on and on. So I think it's a very needed program.
Okay, I just want clarification for Mr. Bond. Is it a legal motion what Alderman Sorrentino did? Or tell me, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, it's a legal motion. It just restricts you only have to put the money in this budget year because you haven't set your budget. So what he's got is getting $10,000 this year with the direction to staff to include this in the budget at that level for the next 4 years. So that 10,000 would go out of this budget year and the balance would be incorporated into the budget in the next 4-year budget cycle.
So we're good.
Yes.
All right, Alderman Messina, you were next.
Yeah, so I know I've asked the question before, but do we have a number on how many Wooddale seniors are impacted by this program or assisted by this program?
I believe they said 70. Is that correct, Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I have a follow-up, please?
Follow-up, Alderman Messina.
Okay, so I know, and more than anybody, I definitely know I want to help. At the same time, some of those surrounding neighborhoods, cities, Elmhurst has a population 3 times as great as ours. They're at 45,000 people, and they're donating that amount. I personally do want to donate. I agree, but I don't think we should bound ourselves to a 5-year, year-over-year increase. I think each year we take it as it is. As we found out, before COVID, we were in a much better situation coming into 2020. So I would ask my fellow council members to keep that in mind. 5 years is a long time.
Well, I believe...
it's not, but
Hey, Mayor, I'll jump in real quick. Manager wants to jump in real
Go
quick.
ahead, you're probably going to say what I was going to say. Go ahead, Joe.
I think the simple solution is it's $10,000. I mean, we take the budget every year and review the budget. We put the budget in draft format, but that does not mean that we're going to commit to $10,000 for 5 years. We can't do that, in fact. So the council has to commit to this every budget discussion. So in reality, all you're doing right now is committing to $10,000 this budget year, and Brad and I will plug in a tentative draft of $10,000, and you're not committed to anything in the out years.
And that's what I was going to say. You have 10,000 for this year and direction for the next 4. So, okay, Alderman Messina, do you have a follow-up, or was that it?
I do.
All right, Alderman Wesley, you have your hand up.
Yeah, my question is only asking for $8,000 for this year. Again, we are in with all the money we've been giving away to the businesses and all that other stuff. I think we should hold the line, and I just go with the $8,000 this year and play it that way. The problem is we don't know what we're going to get from the state.
Right.
Mayor, can I jump in real quick one more time?
Go ahead, Mr. Murmas.
Just so everybody's aware, way back when COVID-19 first had started, staff had circulated correspondence to the council multiple times telling everyone while we wouldn't be in dire straits from the fiscal year's budget, we were expecting to always come back to you and have budget impacts and make adjustments. That meeting is actually coming, at least the first meeting is coming next week at committee, where we talk about cuts to the budget that need be made. We have a list, a menu of items from the capital plan that we will be presenting to cut, and it's upwards of $1 million. So we do anticipate a significant shortfall in revenues, COVID related, and we are actually having this discussion. You will be getting the memo in your packet tomorrow, and the discussion is next week.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Wesley, you have a follow-up?
No, that's it.
I do.
Alderman Sorrentino, go ahead. You have your hand up.
Yes, thank you.
That was me.
No, he was before you, Mike. I'm looking at it right here. You'll be next.
You know, the contributions from Wooddale from 2008 through 2018 total 15,000. Our last donation in 2018 for $1,000. It's almost embarrassing, to be quite frank, considering just last year they served over 6,250 meals to people who perhaps on their own wouldn't be eating. So I'd really like you to consider it. And Jeff, the way you laid it out, the 10 this year, the 10 to be considered at future budgets, you took my thoughts and put it into words. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, so Alderman Sismarski, you were next.
Yeah, I guess I just figured. Never mind.
Never. Alderman Woods, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in, and I think we all know that we're going to have to make cuts to the budget. And while that's an inevitable fact, the one thing I'd rather cut repairing a road or pushing a project off a year as opposed to not feeding some seniors in one of the worst times. So we had those issues with the seniors, you know, in prior years. It has to be exponentially multiplied, the issues with the COVID-19. All these groups are struggling, as we know from the food pantries and PADS programs. The most vulnerable need our help. And so in that case, I have no problem at all adding the 2,000 to the 8,000 request and approving this. We can revisit it in future years of what we're going to do. But this versus a road program, this gets the money hands down, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Messina, you had your hand up again. You're on mute. Alderman Messina. Alderman Messina, yes or no?
You hear me?
Go ahead. Now I can.
Okay. No, I said I'm okay with it. I just there are many hundreds of thousands of hungry people. We just can't help everybody. So I just hope that we keep the budget in mind, like Alderman Eugene Wesley said. I mean, I would love to request $50,000 every year for the next 5 years. We have to live within our means. And I know, Mayor, you've said that 100 million times. And so
right.
2,000 is not going to break the bank. So I'm good.
Any other questions before I take roll? Okay, I see no other. Alderman Sorrentino, Alderman Messina, you can lower your hands.
Oh, sorry.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob.
Done.
Alderman Jacob, unmute, please.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
No passes.
Thank you, everyone, on behalf of the seniors.
Next item. A resolution to amend the agreement between the City of Wooddale and North American Midway Entertainment for Prairie Fest 2021. Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
So much for the hands.
I put mine up, but
I haven't seen your hand, Mike. I see Art's hand is still up.
I just took it down with you.
Any questions? Okay, no questions. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
yes,
Alderman E. Wesley,
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. That concludes my report. Mr. Murmas, city manager's report.
Yes, I have 2 items tonight. Both are good news. First item, Wooddale has once again been recertified as a Class 5 community in the community rating system for the National Flood Insurance Program, which is administered by FEMA. During the previous verification cycle, only 12 communities in Illinois and only 2 in DuPage County, that would be Wooddale and Lisle, received the Class 5 rating. This rating allows our residents to have special flood insurance and take advantage of a 25% discount off that insurance premium. This is, as always, a direct result from everybody's hard work at the city and the city council's continuing effort to mitigate flooding in the community and minimize damage to private property. My second item is also good news. Just want to recap that Wooddale has recently obtained federal funding for some of its upcoming capital improvement projects that will save taxpayer dollars in the coming years and allow the city to reallocate its resources. The city recently received roughly $630,000 for the upcoming central resurfacing project. And we also have received the $2.6 million for our upcoming Elizabeth Drive Bridge project. And additionally, staff is in the final stages of possibly receiving some rather large additional grant monies that we hope to make an announcement on within the next few weeks. So we've really been, City of Wooddale's really been kind of on fire lately with attaining grant money, and we hope to keep up the good work and save those taxpayers' dollars. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Consent
Mayor?
agenda. We have nothing on the consent agenda. Is somebody calling me?
Yeah, I have one question on that grant, all that money we're getting.
Go ahead, Alderman Wesley.
Don't mind me asking. Is
Go ahead.
that from our lobbyists, or is that for you guys and staff digging out looking for that? Or
Sure, I can
Right.
answer that. The $630,000 was from staff. The $2.6 million on the bridge project was staff in conjunction with HR Green helping us to attain that money for the bridge, as that's kind of a complicated and complex project. And some of the grant monies that I'm talking about right now, there's 2 different pools. One of the pools we're working directly with our lobbyist on. So there's potential for some significant dollars in addition to the ones I just mentioned.
job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, committee chairman reports, planning and zoning, Alderman Jacob.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public health and safety, Alderman Sorrentino.
I have no report, Mayor.
Public works, let's see, Alderman Catalano's not here. He has no report.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. I could not remember who the vice chair was. I'm sorry, Eugene.
No problem.
Finance and administration, Alderman Woods.
I have 30 reports, Mayor. Just
No, you don't.
no report.
Thank you. Under airport noise, Alderman Jacob.
No report, but I would like to ask residents to make sure planes are starting to get back a little bit more to normal, still far away, but there are definitely more planes taking off. Please make sure to call in and complain when you can.
And I can tell you the numbers came out for April. They had about 35,000 flights for the month of April. May's numbers probably have them tomorrow morning. That's 35,000 is about half of what they normally do per month. Okay, thank you. Stormwater Commission, Alderman Wesley.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Approval list of bills, Alderman Woods.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the list of bills for June 4th in the amount of $1,399,369.65.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions? I see no hands raised. No questions?
Yep. I have a question.
Alderman Messina, is that you?
Yeah, I've already spoken to staff. I've already spoken to staff about this, and I know we've resolved some of the outstanding invoices with one of our vendors, Alpha Graphics. I know I do, maybe we could put it on it as a future item, but I do want to make sure that we do a competitive bid moving forward for some of these items. I've expressed my concerns with staff, but just if we can make it as a future action item, I'd like to put it on the agenda.
Mayor, I can chime in real quick.
Go ahead, Mr. Merman.
Yeah, typically for these printing jobs, and to Alderman Messina's point, we did actually correct some of the issues he was concerned about with vendors and perhaps switching or not switching around, but spreading it out a little bit more. Typically for projects for such a low amount of dollars, we don't go out for competitive bidding. What we do is we gather quotes. So I don't know if Brad wants to speak to that a little bit more, but we have amended some of our procedures for some of the vendors we were working with, and we modified who we use for certain products. So that's well on its way to being completed. And we always maintain the quote system for some of these smaller projects.
Mr. Wilson, did you have a follow-up or no?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to the manager said there's different pricing levels where there's different requirements for what we need to do from a purchasing standpoint. And to the manager's point, he's correct. For the smaller ones, we don't do, a bid in so much as, send it out, give them a week or 2 weeks to respond to it. But we do get and are required to retain pricing. So we would send out or email or call, 3 vendors and say, hey, give us your price on this. And then they would send it back to us and we would retain it. So it's the same, functionally, it operates very similar to a bid where there is pricing that's obtained and then kind of negotiated if things are confusing or unclear. So there's still a process of getting pricing to make sure that we are shopping. It's just not necessarily called a bid. But the process is similar to make sure that there is competitive pricing, to keep pencils sharpened, and to make sure that everyone's being honest with their pricing.
Mayor, I have my hands up.
Who does? Who's that? Okay, Randy.
Randy.
Yes, I see.
Yeah,
it now.
I mean, again, I've had this conversation with staff. I just simply ask, we have P cards. We should not be afraid to use them. And I am all for local businesses, but at the same time, we have to protect our residents' tax dollars. So I really, really am going to be watching, and they know that when it comes to certain vendors, because it's just very obvious. I've done 3 price checks for this specific vendor, and they've all been at least 40 to at least 80% higher. So I hope staff will do the due diligence to make sure that they are price checking. I know there's no formal bid, but when I see these list of bills, I will continue to question certain vendors.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other bills? I see no other hands. Roll call, please.
Alderman Jacob,
Yes.
Alderman Messina,
Yes.
Sorrentino,
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski,
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley,
Yes.
and Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes. We have no executive session, no items to be referred. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe and
Thank
have
you.
a nice weekend.
Have a safe ride home.